Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Tigers Today. The Detroit Tigers playing host to the California Angels in a brief two-game series. A little cool and cloudy and breezy here at the old stadium again, but everybody's sort of gotten used to that. Tigers took the last two games against Oakland after dropping the first pair. California continuing its road trip. The Angels have won 4 of their 6 games on this road trip, which winds up tomorrow afternoon here in Detroit, and they head on to warmer climes. Well, the Tigers with a big win yesterday. Let's take a look at the highlights and see how Game 4 worked out as the Tigers knocked off Oakland. 4 of Oakland looking to go 5-0, facing Travis Fryman with 2 on and 2 out. Fryman hit a hot shot to right center, scoring Lou Whitaker from third and Mickey Tuttleton, who was on second. Fryman's stand-up double was his second two-bagger of the year. We go to the top of the second. Eric King of the Tigers trying to improve his record to 2-3. He faced Lance Blankenship with 2 men on and 2 out. Lance hit a line shot single to right center, scoring Terry Steinbach, who is waiting at second. In the top of the fourth, the A's first baseman, Mark McGwire, hit the first pitch of the inning, deep to left field. A high archer dropping into the lower deck for his 13th round tripper of the year. McGwire had 3 home runs in the series and leads the majors with 13 home runs. The bottom of the fourth, 2 men on and 1 out. Mark Carrion was at the plate. He hits the first pitch just out of the reach of shortstop Mike Bordick in the left field for a base hit, scoring Travis Fryman from third to give the Tigers the lead again, 3-2. The next batter, center fielder Milt Kyler, hit one up the middle, once again just out of the reach of Mike Bordick for a base hit, bringing home Rob Deere from third to give the Tigers another run. They're up 4-2. Later in the same inning, with runners at first and second, still just 1 out, the Tigers' leadoff man Tony Phillips launched a deep smash to the upper deck and right for a 3-run homer, his second homer of the year. Both were 3-run home runs. Tigers led 7-2. In the top of the 8th, Willie Wilson was facing reliever John Doherty with 1 out. Willie bounced one to Alan Trammell. Alan got the easy out, but the runner at third, Jamie Quirk, scored to give Oakland its 3rd run of the game. Tigers were in front 7-3. Sparky Anderson decided to stay with Doherty. The next batter, Mike Bordick, lined one up the middle to bring in another run for the A's, but that would not be enough as the Tigers held on for an 8-4 win. We talked with 2 Tigers that excelled in yesterday's game. This is what they had to say after the big victory.
Yeah, I'm starting to swing the bat a little better. I feel I'm seeing the ball real well. So, I know it's just a matter of time before, this team lock in and start scoring runs like we're capable of scoring runs. It surprised me that I hit a breaking ball like that. That's only, I think, the second time I ever hit a breaking ball for a home run. So, that was kind of unusual. But, he got the pitch where he wanted. He wanted to do exactly, put it right where he wanted to put it. And unfortunately, I put a good swing on it.
It's a confidence builder. Like I said, I don't know how many more chances the Tigers are going to give me. That was just bothering me a little too. So this came at a perfect time for me, and confidence builder, and looking forward to my next start.
Here's a look. Here's a look at the totals. The Tigers 8-9-0, Oakland 4-8-0. As Eric King picks up his 2nd win of the season, Mike Henneman records his 4th save. First time this season that Oakland has lost 2 in a row. Well, let's check out today's baseball schedule. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh collide in the battle of 2 first-place teams to head up the National League card. Atlanta plays at Chicago, where the Cubs are having all kinds of problems. They are 8-15, the 3rd worst record in Major League Baseball. John Schmaltz goes after his 3rd win. Brett Saberhagen tries to even his record tonight as New York plays at Houston. The Mets have been hot. They're just 2 games back of the Pirates now. In the American League, Texas plays at Baltimore. That's going to be a big matchup. The O's having a lot of fun at Camden Yards. 9-1 at the ballpark. Texas having a good time on the road, winning 12 of 16 on foreign fields this year. Minnesota plays at Boston. John Smiley tries again for his first victory. Roger Clemens is 3-2 going into tonight's game at Fenway. The Sox 4-game win streak was snapped yesterday. Kansas City plays at Cleveland. A win Sunday has moved Kansas City's record to 4-19. Milwaukee plays at Chicago. Both teams are 12-10 going into tonight's game. In other action, New York plays at Seattle. It'll be Leary and Swan. The Mariners struggling now. They have lost 5 in a row. And Toronto plays at Oakland in a big matchup on the West Coast. The Jays dropped 3 out of 4 in a lost weekend at County Stadium. Todd Stottlemyre shoots for his 4th win. Ron Darling will try to improve his 1-1 win-loss record. Coming up, Tigers and the California Angels. We'll also check on Eddie Murray's latest achievement, and the Fox will be along as we continue on Tigers Today. Tigers Today is being brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on. Welcome back to Tigers Today. The California Angels are in town for a brief 2-game series against the Detroit Tigers. The Oakland Athletics Bashers are gone. The Oakland club got 3 home runs from the big guy, Mark McGwire, who has 13 now and leads all Major League Baseball. We mentioned during the telecast yesterday that yesterday was the anniversary of Charlie Maxwell hitting 4 consecutive home runs in 1959 in a doubleheader against the New York Yankees. Well, yesterday was also a milestone for another big slugger in Major League Baseball. His name is Eddie Murray. Murray clubbed his 400th career home run yesterday, his 24th man to do that. This, of course, was earlier in 1988 against Doyle Alexander and the Tigers when Eddie Murray slammed one into the seats over Fred Lim, and that was just one of the 400 that he has clubbed during his career. He played with the Orioles from 77 through 88, went to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and now on to the New York Mets. He, of course, is in a very elite company. Hank Aaron has the all-time high, 755, and the Babe at 714. There are the guys that are within reach, along with Winfield, who is already in this select club. Winfield with 411, Murray with 400, and oddly enough, those 2 guys have never hit 40 home runs in 1 year. They're the only 2 men that have failed to do that and have achieved the 400 home runs in a career. He's the second switch hitter to hit 400 home runs during a career. Obviously, the other guy was Mickey Mantle. He had 536. If you're interested to know, Murray hit 283 left-handed and 117 right-handed. The big slugger hit 254 pitchers for the distance. His favorites were Frank Tanana, Bert Blyleven, and Milt Wilcox. He connected for 6 off those 3 pitchers. Well, Jim Northrup, another slugger in his own right, will be joining us in just a moment in the Fox Speaks segment of Tigers Today, so we invite you to stay with us.
What day is it today, Max? Rosie? Rosie, you're just in time.
Yeah, the problem is, Brady, we got a bad front rolling in.
Bad? What do you mean, bad?
I mean, it's soup up here, Brady.
Soup.
Brady!
Yeah, but you can land, right?
Ah, negative. Best I can do is make a pass. Drop one thing.
One.
What's it gonna be, Brady? Brady!
There are some things in life people that do just about anything for. Smooth, refreshing Stroh's. It's not just any beer.
Catch you next time, Brady.
It's Stroh's.
Any requests?
Pretzels.
Welcome back to Tigers Today. Jim Northrup joins us for this segment. We were talking yesterday about you need a program to follow the California Angels this year. It's about right. There are a lot of guys that we've seen before, but there's some new ones, too.
There are some new ones, and there seems to be some good ones. They're surprising. They have a couple of young guys at second and short that they weren't able to make the trades they wanted, so they said, hey, these kids have hit well in the minors. Let's bring them up and see if they can play, and they're playing and doing very well. They have an excellent pitching staff, so if they can score some runs consistently, they're going to be a factor.
Well, they have been scoring some runs, and they have been getting good pitching. And as a matter of fact, they're sort of in the middle of pack right now. Junior Felix and Hubert Brooks, they are doing a good job in driving in runs so far. As a matter of fact, Junior Felix leads the American League in RBIs along with Mark McGwire.
Well, Junior Felix is highly touted. He came from Toronto in that Devon White trade, and the kid spent a lot of time on the disabled list last year, but he can play the game, and he is ready to come up to his full potential. Hubie Brooks is a veteran player from the Mets organization, about a .280 lifetime hitter, so he knows his way about the field.
They have a guy that knows how to get on base, too, Luis Polonia, their leadoff man, hitting .301. You can see he scored 19 runs already this season.
He's a much-traveled player. He's been all over the place, but he's always hit wherever he goes. Stole 48 bases last year, so it's not surprising that he scores a lot of runs. Gets on base. He's not an accomplished outfielder, but he can hit and he can score.
You mentioned the fact that they made some changes to the middle of the infield. This fellow, Gary DiSarcina, .319 batting average, replaces Dick Schofield, who was good glove, no hit. DiSarcina is pretty good bat and is not quite as good defensively as was Schofield.
Well, there are not too many better than Schofield or as good as, but DiSarcina and Bobby Rose at second base, they both hit very well in Edmonton last year, and so they're giving them a chance to play.
When you talk about pitching, they've got plenty, including an ace in the bullpen, Brian Harvey.
Brian Harvey's always been very good out of that bullpen, and he's the only guy out there pretty much to go to in the save situation, and he's done the job for him so far. And there we see the leaders, Eckersley 9, Harvey 8, and the rest of them are pretty much guys that you would think that would be, because they're in the save situation all the time.
A Michigan man gets the start tonight. His name is Jim Abbott. He's been kind of a hard-luck pitcher so far this year.
Yeah, he lost 1-0 to Toronto to Stottlemyre. He's been very good. Came into his own last year, winning 18 ball games, and he was a hard-luck pitcher last year. He could have easily won about 25. Lost a lot of close ball games, but Jim has really come into his own. You have to remember, this is his 4th year, but he never went in the minor leagues, so he learned in the major leagues, a tough place to learn.
Yeah, he lost his first 4 games last year, wound up 3rd in the Cy Young balloting. Jim Abbott, he's a good one. We invite you to stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching Tigers Today on Pass. Oh, here's a look at tonight's Pass Tiger Tavern entries. More Elbow Room in Roseville, Confetti Lounge in Dearborn Heights, and Chi-Chi's number 059 in Livonia. These establishments will have until the end of the game to call the Pass Pub hotline and qualify to win 25 tickets to a future Tiger game. We hope that you enjoy tonight's game, whether you're at the ballpark, a favorite tavern, or just over at Friends watching. The Tigers, Team Michigan, and Pass want to remind you to pass your keys to a designated driver, because we don't want you to become another statistic. California and Detroit, Game 1 of a brief 2-game series coming up. We invite you to stay with us. It's next on Pass. Tigers Today has been brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on.
The Bengals are on the prowl. Tonight, the game is on Pass.
At the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Yesterday's 8-4 win gave Detroit its first winning streak at home in 1992. Now out of the American League East basement, the Tigers have their sights set on the Angels of California. Up next, Detroit and California, live on Pass. Live from Tiger Stadium in Detroit, Michigan, Pass Sports presents Major League Baseball. Tonight, the Tigers face the Angels in the first game of their 2-game series. On the mound for California will be former Michigan standout Jim Abbott. The Tigers will counter with their ace, Phil Gullickson. Hi, everybody. This is Larry Osterman along with Jim Northrup. We welcome you to tonight's game. It's a little cloudy, a little cool, and a little bit breezy, but the Tigers have played very well, so they're very hot.
Oh, they hope so. They're going to face a new look team this year. Wally Joyner and Winfield and Schofield and McCaskill have moved on, and they've replaced them with a couple of youngsters along with Hubie Brooks, and some others. So we're going to have a new look Angels this year. They started out fast last year, Katie. We'll have to see what they can do this year.
The Tigers have won 2 in a row here. They've won 6 of their last 10. They moved out of the cellar in the American League East. They face a tough guy tonight in Jim Abbott, but California also faces a tough man in Bill Gullickson. Bill has won his last 3 decisions. Here's the batting order that California will send against him.
Leading off in center field, Louis Polonia. In right field, second hitter John Morris. Batting third, the left fielder Junior Felix. Designated hitter and batting fourth, Hubie Brooks. At first base, batting fifth, Alvin Davis. Sixth hitter at third base, Gary Gaetti. Seventh hitter in catching, Lance Parrish. Second baseman batting eighth, Bobby Rose. And the ninth hitter, shortstop, Gary DiSarcina.
That's the batting order for California. We'll be back with the start of tonight's game in just a moment on Pass.
Pass Sports presentation of Detroit Tiger Baseball is brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, who invites you to see why more people depend on Chevrolet than any other car. By Smooth, refreshing Stroh's and Stroh's Light. It's not just any beer, it's Stroh's. And by Highland, we cut the best deals, period.
Larry Osterman and Jim Northrup speaking to you from Tiger Stadium in Detroit. It's a cool night. You see Buck Rogers heading back to the California dugout after exchanging lineup cards with the Tigers manager, Sparky Anderson. Tigers and Angels play a pair here. They play this evening and then tomorrow afternoon at 1:35. The Tigers need a sweep to wind up this homestand above 500. They had a couple of games rained out. Rick Reed is the home plate umpire tonight. Tim McClellan working at first, Drew Coble at second, and Durwood Merrill is at third base. Tigers have won 3 of the 7 games played thus far. They will hit the road for a 10-game 4-city swing following tomorrow afternoon's action. Defensively for the Tigers this evening around the infield, it looks like this. Travis Fryman plays third, Alan Trammell short. Tony Phillips at second, and Cecil Fielder returns to action. He's at first. In the outfield for Detroit, Dan Gladden, Milt Kyler, and Rob Deere. Doing the catching for the Tigers is Mickey Tettleton. And on the mound making his 6th start of the season is Bill Gullickson.
Bill's 3-2 this year with a 3.94 earned run average. Has won his last 3 games in a row after losing his first 2. You see his statistics there, 1 complete game. 32 innings. He's only walked 7. A lot of his success due to that. Struck out 12. Bill throws a fastball that tails into right-handers away from lefties, a slider, curve, and a change. As I said, he throws a lot of strikes, makes the hitters put the ball in play. When he gets people on base, he keeps the ball down and gets a lot of ground balls.
That's what he did in his last start, a 4-1 victory over Seattle. Complete game performance, 5 hits, 1 earned run, walked a couple, and struck out 3. Bill is 33 years old, 6'3", 225, hails from Marshall, Minnesota. There's Spark. The first-round draft choice of the Montreal Expos in June of 1977. He was the number 2 pick in the nation behind Harold Baines after having had a sensational high school career at Joliet, Illinois. In his last 2 seasons there, he was 23-1 with 6 no-hitters. He's had some success against the Angels in 3 decisions. He has won 2 of them. California comes to town with a 13-11 win-loss record, in 4th place in the Western Division, a game and a half out of first place. Actually, the California team is just 3 percentage points out of 3rd place. Sparky's trying to get somebody's attention. I'm not, just to say howdy, I guess. First go-around, first meeting of the season for these 2 teams. The Tigers lead in the all-time series. They have won 3 straight against California here. And the Tigers won last season's series, taking 7 of the 12 games. So we're about ready to go. Luis Polonia. John Morris and Junior Felix will face Bill Gullickson. And the first pitch of the ball game is hit foul upstairs. California having a lot of success on the road so far, winning 10 of 15. The Tigers won their 3rd at home in 13 starts here yesterday afternoon. 48 degrees is the game time temperature. Polonia bangs it toward the shortstop. Alan Trammell reaches down, throws him out, and there's 1 away. Angels are a situation similar to the Tigers. They have had trouble winning at the Big A. They are 3-6 on the home field this year. John Morris will be the batter. He plays right field tonight. He's hitting .250.
Morris spent 6 years with the St. Louis Ball Club, and then he was last year at Philadelphia, where he only hit .220 with 1 home run and 6 RBIs.
Pitch is in there for a strike. Chopper speared by Fryman, and he guns him down. Fryman was in relatively shallow and had to leap to pick off the ground ball. 2 are out, and Junior Felix will be the batter. Junior Felix is a switch hitting left fielder, batting .226 from the right side, .303 from the left.
Junior spent a lot of time, a couple of times last year on the disabled list, hit .283. He was in the major player in the trade with Devon White, center fielder from the Angels, who went over to Toronto and has had some very good success with the Toronto Blue Jays. This young guy has been highly touted, has a lot of ability, seems to be coming into his own this year, hitting .278, 3 home runs and 23 RBIs.
He's up there with 2 out and nobody on, and he takes the pitch high and away. Angels have won 5 of the last 6 ball games. A little bit low. 2 balls, no strikes. Inside corner for a strike. He got Felix turning away from the pitch, but it caught the inside corner 2-1. Been kind of a wacky day weather-wise in the Detroit area. It rained very heavily to the west of Detroit in late afternoon, but just a few sprinkles here. This is hit foul, now to play along the left field line. It looked like we were going to get a downpour, and it's brightened up considerably. We have clouds overhead, but nothing threatening. Pretty good breeze blowing across. The right field foul pole to the left will be an aid to right-handed hitters this evening. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody on. And a fly ball to left center. Milt Kyler is over. Gladden is there. It's going to be Gladden. And the side goes in order in the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. After 1/2 inning, it's California nothing. The Tigers coming up.
Here to line up for the Tigers, the leadoff hitter playing second base, Tony Phillips. Batting second will be Dan Gladden. He'll play left field. Third hitter, shortstop Alan Trammell. Back in the lineup at first base and batting fourth, Cecil Fielder. Fifth hitter and catching, Mickey Tettleton. At third base, the 6th hitter will be Travis Fryman. And out in right field, batting 7th, Rob Deere. The 8th hitter, designated hitter for the Tigers, Mark Carrion. Center fielder, Milt Kyler, will bat 9th.
That's the batting order for the Tigers. Defensively for California around the infield, the veteran Gold Glover Gary Gaetti plays at third base. Gary D. Sarcina is the shortstop. Bobby Rose at second, and Alvin Davis plays first base. In the outfield, they did a little switch here just as they took the field, and they have moved Felix to center and Polonia to left. John Morris stays on in right field. Doing the catching for California is Lance Parrish, and on the mound making his 6th start of the season is Jim Abbott.
Jim Abbott has been a hard luck pitcher this year. His ERA is 1.80, but he's only 1-3. Lost his last outing 1-0 to Stottlemyre over in Toronto. This young fella, it's his 4th year in the league, never went in the minors, came right into the major leagues, learned the hard way. He's been very successful last year. See what he's done here. Walked 9 in 35 innings, struck out 23. Good fastball, curve, and a slider, changeup. He was 18-11 last year with a .289 earned run average after losing his first 4 ball games. University of Michigan star, and from Flint area. So he's a Michigan boy. Been very successful, and a credit to the game.
Star at Flint Central High School, went to school at the University of Michigan, where he was a communications major. He is 6'4", 6'3", 24 years old. Weighs in at 210. Mentioned he had that 0-4 start. He had a run of 16 victories in 20 decisions, including 7 consecutive victories in August and September. So he finished very strong, and he has started strong, but his win-loss record does not indicate that. There's Luis Polonia, who had been penciled in as a center fielder. He switched to left, and Junior Felix, who had been in left, has switched over to center.
I was surprised that they would have Polonia in center. He's not a very good outfielder, just barely adequate. Felix is a decent outfielder and has played center before, and that's the switch they made.
Yeah, there have been many misadventures in left field with Polonia, but that is where he normally plays. Tony Phillips, Dan Gladden, and Alan Trammell will start it off for the Tigers against Jim Abbott.
Big day yesterday for Tony Phillips. Drove in half the Tigers' runs with a 3-run homer and a sacrifice fly. Tony starting to hit the ball, make better contacts as he's seeing the ball well. It's pretty obvious he's hitting the ball straight away and hard again. This guy makes the Tigers go. Even when he was struggling and not hitting well, he at least was getting a lot of walks and scoring runs as he led the league in that category.
Two now the count to Tony. Takes it low for a ball. He has 8 RBIs in his last 3 ball games. A couple of 3-run homers bumped it up in a hurry. The expense of the Oakland Athletics. Here's the 3-0 pitch in there. Abbott, while not pitching in the minor leagues, saw considerable action during the summer between Michigan and the Angels, pitching in the Pan Am Games and the Olympics, of course. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and he walked him. Tony Phillips with a great on-base percentage for the Tigers this year, has been very effective in the leadoff role. Phillips on-base percentage, .453.
Dan Gladden is a decent second-place hitter. He led off a lot with the Twins, but Dan can handle the bat and put the ball in play, especially against a left-hand pitcher. Sparky decides to get something going quick on a hit and run. If they get ahead in the count, certainly can do it. Tony is a good base runner, and as I said, Gladden will be able to put the ball in play and can hit the ball to the right side, although he generally pulls.
Only Mark McGwire has a better on-base percentage in the American League than Tony Phillips. .482. Phillips, .453. Many occasions, McGwire doesn't stay on the base paths very long. He just hits it out, trucks around, and sits down.
Scored 23 runs, I think it said. 13 of them were round trippers.
Here's the 1-0 pitch, foul back. You saw the DJ on the shirt sleeve. Darren Johnson was a coach for California. He passed away recently. Big loss to baseball. He had been ill with cancer. One of the outstanding men in this game. I think he was only 53, 55 years old. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and it's lined foul into the upper deck. 1-2 the count to Gladden. No score in the ball game. Tony Phillips, the first runner. Gladden up there with a 1-2 count. There's been a turnaround among the Tigers and starting to show some form that everyone had anticipated. They've gotten better performance recently from the starting pitchers. Fastball is hit right at the shortstop, DeSarcina, and Phillips hustles back. Gladden hit it on the nose, but right at DeSarcina, there's one away. Tiger starters in the last 5 games have a 3.27 ERA.
The old Adam ball hit very hard right at the shortstop, and Tony Phillips, of course, has to hold his ground. Didn't, with nobody out, you certainly don't want to get picked off in a double play, and Tony held off.
Alan Trammell bringing his average up swiftly now. It's up to 250 after a slow start. Batting .314 in the last dozen games.
Allen's another one of those players who can hit and run if you wish to do it. Allen is really probably the best hit and run man on the team.
And you made a point yesterday with Tram and his stance. It looks almost identical to the 1984 stance that he used when he had what should have been an MVP year.
Very closed with his front foot, his left foot, and his shoulder in the half of his body. When the pitcher can see, when we can see Trammell's name and his number, then you know he's turned around and in the stance that is normal for Allen. Once in a while he opens up and pulls away sometimes too quickly, and it pulls him off the ball.
1 ball, no strikes to Tram. In there for a strike, it's 1-1. Well, the Wings are back at their old habits, falling behind. Chicago 1, Detroit nothing. Blackhawks lead this series 1-0. Action at the Joe Louis Arena this evening. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's in there. 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes to Alan Trammell. He's got 1 home run this year, has knocked in 9. 1-2 pitch, and it's chopped foul past the Tiger dugout.
Very effective pitch with 1 ball and 2 strikes. Abbott threw the breaking ball down and in. A pitch that if Trammell does hit it, he's going to hit it foul. And it's a good setup pitch if you want to go away from Allen. And you don't want to be away up, but if you go away with Allen, keep the ball down, that's where you have to pitch him. It's pretty tough to get inside on him. He's very quick with his hands.
Jammed him, and he bounced foul. Dick Krasuski picks it off. Abbott has split a pair of decisions in 3 starts against the Tigers last year. His last victory was against Texas. Shut out the Rangers in 7 in the 3rd innings work. California won at 3-0. His last start was a complete game loss at the hands of the Toronto Blue Jays at the Sky Dome, 1-0. One and 2 the count to Trammell. There goes Phillips. Pitch is outside. Here's Lance's throw off target. And Tony Phillips is in easy with a steal. That has been sort of a nemesis for California this year. Opponents have stolen with regularity.
Well, that base was stolen on the pitcher. Tony Phillips guessed right. He just, the minute Abbott made any motion whatsoever, Tony took off. You see, the motion is there. As soon as he moved, Tony took off, hoping that Abbott would go to the plate. And once he did, there was no way any Parrish could throw the runner out no matter where he threw it. Tony just stole that on Jim Abbott.
Plus the fact that Lance has been bothered by a bad elbow. He missed some games because of an inflamed elbow. Returned to action yesterday. But the opponents have been successful in 71% of their attempts this year in steals. Ground ball left side. Gaetti picks it up, guns it over to first, and there are 2 out. Phillips holds at second. And Cecil Fielder makes his first appearance after missing a couple of games and draws a normal reaction.
If Cecil's patient and gets a good pitch, Abbott's the kind of pitcher Cecil should eat alive. Abbott has pretty good movement on his ball, though, but still, he isn't an overpowering pitcher, and so all Cecil has to do is try to get his pitch, not swing too hard.
He's tied for second in the American League with 21 runs batted in. He is tied for first in the Tiger organization with 7 home runs. Whoop, God. Man, that bat went back and hit the seats and flew back out.
Unusual, you seldom see Cecil do that, but he does have a jammed hand, and it may be a little tough for him. He's going to go get some more pine tar. Might need some Elmer's glue there, Cecil. I got to take a look at it. He might not be able to grip as well as he would like to. You can see that his left hand wasn't hanging onto that bat very well, and that's the hand that's been jammed. But he's got a big grin on his face and got some more pine tar.
Well, fortunately, he hit the wall in front of the seats, and no one was hurt. They asked him before the game how it felt, and he said during batting practice it felt pretty good. Sparky was quoted in the newspaper this morning as saying he could have played last night, but he had promised that he was going to keep him out, or yesterday afternoon, promised he was going to keep him out for 2 games and did so. 2 strikes to Fielder. Tony Phillips is at second base with 2 out. In the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're talking about the successful steals against the Angels. Cleveland had 7 stolen bases yesterday, which tied a club record of most steals by an opponent against California. So something is wrong somewhere.
Well, what is a center fielder out there? Is his name Cole for Cleveland?
Alex Cole.
Alex Cole got 4 of them, and he'll steal on anyone. When he gets on base, it's almost impossible to throw him out. He has great speed.
But 71% is extraordinarily high.
Very high. Chuck says he had 5. I didn't know that. I thought it was 4, but 5. That's still.
It's even worse.
That's even worse than worse.
2-2 to Cecil. 2 out. Phillips is at second base. Look out. That, oh, my goodness. It cleared everybody again and went flying into the seats. Howie. So the inning comes to a close. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left. We'll go to the second. There is no score. Bill Gullickson set him down in order. A couple of ground balls and a fly to left. And after a leadoff walk to Tony Phillips, Jim Abbott mowed him down.
Want to wish Rod McDougall from Hamtramck, Michigan, a happy birthday on today. He's a big fan of Pass and the Detroit Tigers, so happy birthday, Rod.
Also want to send along birthday greetings to Laura Weingartner, who is celebrating number 87 today. Big Tiger fan. We'll start the second with the middle third of the order. Hubie Brooks, Alvin Davis, and Gary Gaetti. Hubie Brooks is the DH tonight. He is hitting .281, 4 homers, 20 runs batted in. He takes the first pitch up and in.
With the Mets last year, traded for Dave Gallagher. He only hit .238 for the Mets with 16 homers, .272 lifetime.
Chopper, Tram near the bag, throws him out, and that's 4 straight, retired by Gullickson. Alvin Davis will be the batter. Davis playing first base tonight. First, Wally Joyner went over to Kansas City. That left a spot. Lee Stevens was theoretically going to be the first baseman. They got Davis signed as a free agent.
Alvin had some very good years with the Seattle Mariners. He likes to hit in this ballpark. He's dangerous. Short porch in right field. The wind is blowing in from right field, but Alvin at one time was one of the better and most feared hitters in the league.
He's coming off his worst season of his career. He hit only .221 with the Mariners last year. 12 homers, 69 runs batted in. 2 strikes to count to Davis. Here's the 2-strike pitch, backs him away. Davis contract a year ago, $1.7 million. He signed on with the Angels for $800,000, and he strikes out here in the second inning. There are 2 out.
Big overhand curveball, and Alvin Davis is strung out way out in front of this pitch. All his weight is forward, and he was just fooled completely.
So Davis goes back to the dugout, and the G-man, Gary Gaetti, comes up. Gaetti, playing third base, has come on strong recently after a very slow start at the plate. He has a 9-game hitting streak alive. And he takes a strike, batting .361 over that stretch.
Had many, many good years with the Minnesota Twins. Been a nemesis for the Tigers, both with the glove and the bat. Had 18 home runs last year, hitting .246.
1 strike pitch from Gullickson is high. Two out, nobody on. We're at the top of the second inning. High fly, shallow right. Rob Deere in, Phillips out, and it's going to be Tony to make the catch. 1, 2, 3, second. We'll go to the bottom of the second inning, still a scoreless game.
So I'm barbecuing for 30. I got the best steaks, I got the cheap charcoal, and I got burned.
Fire's out.
Don't get burned by cheap charcoal. Buy the best.
Kingsford, the surefire. Feel the power of Tiger baseball. Seattle's Kevin Mitchell is the king bat of the Kingdome. Lead off with Tigers today at 10:15. Friday night, the game is on PAX.
In the fifth inning, we'll be recapping the game scoring, brought to you by Cellular One, the cellular service provider that really means business. Scoreless ball game as we head to the Tigers' second. Mickey Tettleton, Travis Fryman, and Rob Deere will face Jim Abbott, who walked Phillips. He then stole second. But he got the 3 men in order following Phillips, and there is no score. Mickey Tettleton batting .272, 7 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Abbott has not allowed a run on the road this year in 21 and 2/3 innings pitched, 2 strikes. He's allowed 16 hits over that stretch and struck out 16. The 0-2 pitch. High fly left field. Luis Polonia coming hard and makes the catch. Luis took the great circle route but got there. And there's 1 out of the second inning.
Always an adventure with Luis. He managed to get the job done, if not too gracefully, but he's capable of making a lot of mistakes. He's really chewing up that gum, though. This one was high enough, gave him plenty of time to surround it.
It's Buck Rogers. Manager on the right, Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach to his right, left of your screen. Pitch misses inside. Buck at one time was a member of the Tiger organization. He was in the Detroit farm system for 6 seasons with really no place to go because there was a fellow by the name of Bill Freehand immediately in front of him. Pitch is in for a strike, 1-1. There's Buck. One of the original Angels. Was drafted from the Tigers in the expansion draft. Played with them from 61 through 69. 1-1 pitch, jammed him, looped towards the second baseman, and Bobby Rose picks it off for the second out. 2 up, 2 down, and Rob Deere will bat. Rob playing right field, hitting 197, 7 home runs, 13 RBIs. Abbott walked the first man he faced and now has retired 5 straight. It's not a great night for hitters, is it, this cool?
Never. It's not a great night for anyone in this kind of a weather. But you have to go out and do it. Actually, it's not too bad if it's not blowing hard for the players. It's tougher for the guys sitting and watching.
Fastball to Deere inside. It's 2-0.
We've seen a lot of third basemen play off the line with Rob Deere. I don't really understand it. He's a pull hitter. Yesterday, he had 2 doubles down right over the bag, and Gayetti's giving him all the line he wants. He's playing right in the middle.
That's fouled off his foot, and that'll hurt.
Oh, he did it yesterday, and I did it again. You try and pull that breaking ball down and in. That's why he wears that shield. Come over the top of it, it goes right down on the puppies. Let's see where this one hits. Breaking ball down and in, and right off the toe, just exactly where he got it yesterday. But he wears that extra shield over the top, which really helps. But that's the second time in 2 days.
He's going to have to get some of those industrial shoes with a steel toe in them.
You see the shield he has. He has the extra one down off the instep and the toe, sort of. Most hitters just have the shin guard.
Fastball up and in is 3-1 to Rob. Well, the battle of division leaders underway. San Francisco and Cincinnati are tied in the National League West. Pittsburgh in the lead in the East. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh facing each other this evening. Deere draws a base on balls that ends the string at 5 straight retired. It's the second walk off Abbott. Cincinnati leading Pittsburgh 1-0. They're in the second at Pittsburgh. Mark Carrion is the designated hitter for Detroit. News not good from the Joe. Blackhawks 2, Red Wings nothing in the first period. Carrion with a .375 average over the last 7 games in which he has hit. Takes a pitch low for a ball. He tripled here yesterday, the first time that he has a 3-bagger in his big league career. Here's the 1-0 pitch, high. 2 balls, no strikes.
Mark hit .260 with the Mets last year. It appears to me, the way I've been watching, he's a low ball hitter. Again, he wears the shield on that left foot, and he tries to pull a lot, although we saw him hit the triple in the right center.
2-0 pitch from Abbott. Curve hangs outside. 3 balls, no strikes.
Similar to the one Rob Deere, he's got a little bit more extending over his toe. His feet maybe not as big. Those pull hitters that come off those low breaking balls, they need a shield.
3-0 fastball is in there, 3-1. Two out, runner at first. 3 balls and a strike to Carrion. Fastball bounced toward Bobby Rose, flips it to second base, and the side is out of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. We'll go to the third, still scoreless.
Past Sports presentation of Detroit Tiger Baseball is brought to you in part by RCA Color Track 2000 Home Theater TV. RCA, changing entertainment again. By Franklin, the official batting glove of Major League Baseball. No one has a better feel for the game. By Cousins Clothes and Cousins Big and Tall, both located on Southfield Road in Lathrop Village. And by Citgo, the sign of quality.
Our next telecast on Pass is set for Friday night. We'll be at the Kingdome in Seattle as the Tigers and Mariners open their 3-game weekend series. Airtime for Tigers today. Our pregame show is 10:15. Ball game at 10:30. We'll have all 3 of them for you from the Kingdome. 7 o'clock start. That's a 10:05 start in Detroit on Saturday night, and a 4:30 start in Detroit on Sunday the 10th. It's been a pitching duel, hasn't it? Scoreless through 2.
Lance Parrish got off to a big start last year and then faded, hit 19 home runs, but only 216. He's off to a pretty good start this year. 268, 4 homers, and 10 RBI.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Lance, in there for a strike. They talked at length during the off-season about unloading Lance some way or another. They felt that John Orton or Ron Tingley or Mike Fitzgerald or somebody of that ilk would be a quick replacement for Lance, but Parrish had a pretty good spring and is having a pretty good season so far. Hitting 272 on the road. Overall 268 with 4 home runs and 10 runs batted in. Here's the 2-1 pitch, a little bit high. Orton suffered some shoulder miseries during spring training, and that cost him an opportunity to unseat Lance as the #1 catcher.
And he's on the disabled list now, is he?
Yes, sir. 3-1 pitch is hit high to right center. Tyler is over. And there's 1 out in the 3rd inning. Bobby Rose will bat.
One of the youngsters the Angels have brought up to play in the infield. Bobby's playing second base, hit 298 at Edmonton last year.
Rose hitting 216. High and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Strike on the outside corner. High and away, 2 balls and a strike. Rose has 3 hits and 15 at-bats on this road trip. He picked up an RBI yesterday, his first since the 16th of April. But he has a very good glove. Pitches low and away, 3-1. He and his Keystone mate, Gary DiSarcina, are hitting 8th and 9th respectively tonight. 3-1 pitch. And he walked him. Gullickson not sure that Rick Reed got it right that time. Rose becomes the first base runner of the night for California. He's at first with 1 out, and Gary DiSarcina is the batter.
Take a look at the last pitch. The first pitch of this to this hitter was a strike in the same area, and that didn't look all bad. I don't know what he called it for. It wasn't outside. If it was high, then the strike zone had shrunk even more than we thought.
Looked like a pretty good pitch. DiSarcina's the hitter with a runner at first and 1 out. Squares takes strike 1.
Another Edmonton player of last year. He hit 310, hitting 319 this year. He made Schofield expendable.
DiSarcina and Rose had combined 81 games of major league experience starting this season. They replaced Schofield and Soho, but they are the players of the future. Swung on and missed. 2 strikes to count.
This Angel team near the All-Star break was right at the top, if not leading.
They were.
And they ended up with probably, I don't know if their pitching staff ended up with the best stats. I think they led the league in ERA. They won a lot of ball games, but they finished dead last. That's hard to do with that pitching staff, but they did. They couldn't score runs consistently, and they didn't ham and egg it, and they lost.
Fastball hit to the right side. Could be two. Phillips to Tram. Throw to first. Got it. Tram had a little trouble unloading at second base, but got it over to Cecil, and the side has gone to the third. Still no scores. The Tigers come up in the bottom of the third inning.
When night falls, the stars begin to shine on America's greatest nighttime sport, harness racing. Hazel Park Harness is racing with excitement. Nightly post time, 7:30 p.m.
Scoreless ball game on a cool evening at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Milt Kyler, Tony Phillips, and Dan Gladden will face Jim Abbott.
Those
Tigers
here, they came prepared, though.
Yes, they did.
Bundled up. Wise of them to do so. They'd be bicycles on their chairs, enjoying the pizza and the hot dogs here at the game.
Pitch is in for a strike. You know what we should have done? And there may be still time if the weather continues like this. We could have put up a blanket concession and sold blankets or bottles or something
sleeping
like that.
bags.
Pitch is low.
That's the new thing, and it makes a whole lot of sense. A lot of people bring a sleeping bag, just crawl in it, sit there, and you're warm as toast.
It's tough to get up and run if you have to get away in a hurry, though. Get to the restroom or something like that. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Chopped down the third baseline foul. I don't recall. There have been some springs that we've had some consistently bad weather, but I don't recall it going this late into the season.
No, it's been very damp, very cold. We've had very few good days. One of these days, maybe it'll break and we'll get a break.
1 ball, 2 strikes, the count to Kyler. Ground ball to third. Nice backhanded pick by Gary Gaetti. Wheels it across, and there's one away in the third. Gaetti got off to a horrendous start this season defensively.
He has the good, quick, soft hands, though, Larry. You see him, he doesn't even bother getting in front of this ball. He just reaches over, backhands as if there's nothing to it, makes a good throw to first base.
He at one time offered Jim Abbott the opportunity to play third base. Things were going so poorly for him. He has 10 errors this year, and that
that's usually a season for Gaetti.
That's right.
Well, get him out of his system. Just proves he's human. You put that uniform on and go out there often enough, you're going to kick a few. There's just no way around it. You just hope not to do it where it hurts the ball club.
1 strike to count to Tony Phillips. He has walked this evening and has a stolen base. Takes the pitch low. Gaetti came up with the Minnesota Twins with the top billing as a power hitter, and he achieved that status on the big league level as well, but he developed into an outstanding defensive third baseman. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Kansas City in front of Cleveland 2-0. They're in the second over in Cleveland. And Minnesota has a 1-0 lead over Boston at Fenway. They're in the first. Not much going on in the way of base runners here tonight thus far, as Abbott and Gullickson are throwing goose eggs up there. Broken bat, ground ball, charged by DeCinza, and he throws him out. DeCarcina throwing out Phillips, and there are 2 away. Dan Gladden will bat. He lined out to DiSarcina in the first inning.
Nice quick hands by the young man and a real quick throw over to first base. Very accurate. Gets Tony Phillips.
2 up, 2 down in the third. Pitch to Gladden. Inside and low. It's in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. They're underway over in Chicago, Milwaukee, and the White Sox are scoreless in the first inning. One pitch. Fouled away, out of play. And another foul will be out of play along the first base line. One ball, 2 strikes to Dan Gladden. Tigers had a base runner in each of the first 2 innings. Both were as a result of walks. Phillips is a leadoff man. Abbott got the next 3. He walked Deere with 2 out and got Carry-On to hit into a force play. 1-2 delivery. Checked the swing, but not in time. He's a gunner. Second strikeout for Abbott. 1-2-3 inning for Jeb. We'll go to the 4th. Still no score. Let's take a look at the American and National League batting leaders, brought to you by Franklin, the official batting glove of Major League Baseball. John Kruk stays on top of the National League race. His average has dipped below the 400 mark now. He's at 393. Paul O'Neill of Cincinnati has moved into the number 2 spot. A couple of giants follow, Will Clark and Robbie Thompson at 356 and 353 respectively. And Sean Dunston of the Cubs has moved into the top 5 at 338. In the American League, the leading hitter coming into today's play, Roberto Alomar of the Blue Jays at 382. Carney Lansford at 371. Mike Bordick of the A's at 368. Dave Winfield of Toronto a point back. And Roberto Kelly of the Yankees 351. So that's been a rather consistent fivesome through the first part of this season.
A lot of teams, when Abbott first came to the major leagues, thought they could bunt on him, and they tried it. And he's so clever with getting that glove off and on the other hand and then switching and throwing. They don't try to bunt him anymore. He threw him out. He's a clever fielder.
No scores. We start the 4th with the top of the order. Luis Polonia, John Morris, and Junior Felix against Bill Gullickson. There's allowed only 1 base runner. He walked Bobby Rose with 1 out in the 3rd, but got DiSarcina to hit into a double play. Travis Fryman in on the grass at 3rd, a bit off the line. 1-0 pitch to Polonia. Rolls one toward Tram, and he throws him out. 1 away, nobody on. John Morris will bat. Did you see, Jim, where a man bid $200,000 for a baseball that might be the one that Babe Ruth knocked out of Yankee Stadium for his 60th home run in 1927?
On the might? I don't think so. It better be the one for that kind of
Well, he's sort of hoping that it is.
Well, maybe I should know him. I've got a few balls hanging around the house there that might have done this and might have done that, and I'll sell them for a lot less than 200 grand.
Folks at the Hall of Fame say they've got the original, and they paid $100 for it.
Yeah.
Actually, it was the ball that the Hall of Fame has was donated to the Hall and it was supposedly caught by a man by the name of Joe Forner, who had sold it for $100, and the relative of the person that bought it for $100 donated it to the Hall of Fame. There are 2 out as Morris grounds out. There are 2 away. But the fellow that paid $200,000 for the ball that he has is very hopeful that that's the original.
How's he going to prove it?
I don't know. The guy that sold it says his father, who was 14 years old at the time, caught the ball in the right field stands at Yankee Stadium, and it was signed by several Yanks, including Ruth, who wrote 60 next to his name, and by Tom Zachary, who was the Washington pitcher that threw the pitch. The Hall of Fame says, Junior Felix, the batter, 2 out, nobody on. Fastball up and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. Did you ever get and keep, if you did, any of your Grand Slam balls?
Yep, got them all. Gave them to my son. Yeah, he has them.
Great.
Even the one I hit in the World Series.
2 balls, a strike.
Guy brought it down to me after the game.
Did he ask for anything in the way of an autograph or replacement or anything?
I gave him one. No, he just wanted to bring it down and give it to me, and he was in St. Louis, and I gave him another one, signed it for him.
That's great. Into the hole, Tram backhand. He's got a long throw. Safe. Tough break for Bill Gullicks and the Tigers. The first hit of the ball game. Infield single by Junior Felix.
Junior has good speed, hit the ball in the hole at short. You can see him go right with that pitch, and he has good speed here. Alan Trammell has to go in a hole, backhand the ball, and come up with it. Fires it over to first base, but Felix, it pulled a fielder off the bag just a little bit. Felix beats it because of that.
The first hit of the ball game for either side. We had a double no-hitter going through 3. Hubie Brooks will bat.
I gave the bat to John Hamm, the equipment man here in Tiger Stadium. Remember John?
Oh, sure.
I don't know where it is. John's passed away. Probably it's in Florida somewhere at his home.
Wasn't John's son the equipment man or the clubhouse man for the visitors?
He probably has it. Hall of Fame didn't ask for it.
They didn't, huh?
No.
Well, maybe they didn't have your number.
Actually, if I remember, maybe John gave it to him, but I don't know. I doubt it. And I'm not going to Cooperstown to find out. And I doubt if it's worth $200,000. More like $2. $1.98.
$3.98. 2 strikes to count to Brooks. 2 out, runner at first. Two are out. Runner at first base. 2 strikes to count to Hubie Brooks. Hall of Fame features a terrific display of Tiger memorabilia in Cooperstown. The old timers and some of the recent guys. Pitches up and in. Cesar Gutierrez's bat is there when he had, what, 7 consecutive hits?
Yep, in Cleveland. And 2 of them were infield hits. 3 of them were broken bat hits. 5 of the hits were, you could have strung all 7 together, and I doubt it they would have reached the center field wall, but they were all 7 legit hits.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Pop foul, may get out of play. Tettleton coming back, and it's on the screen. A big display of Al Kaline memorabilia, along with other Tigers, of course, who are in the Hall of Fame. And there's a bat there that you wouldn't expect to be there.
Chet Lemon.
I told you about it, didn't I?
You told me. Here we see this pop-up. The wind is blowing in from right. And Hubie loses the bat, and it hits Tettleton on the mask. Didn't even phase him. He just kept right on going, looking for the ball. Cold weather, the guys are having trouble hanging on to the bat.
I'll tell you, when Fielder comes up, if I was on that third baseline, I'd be moving out of there. He threw the bat once into the stands and once at the base of the stands in the first trip tonight.
Mr. K. Lionel Alvin has joined us today. I saw him
Yes, he is downstairs.
Got thrown out of the house. Louise got tired of him, booted him out. So he's down here. Yeah.
I asked him if Louise was out of town and he was coming down for a free meal, but he said no, he just came to the park. Foul ball out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Taking the Chet Lemon bat one step further to explain, there's a very fine display of Tiger uniforms in a cubicle showing a Tiger clubhouse type cubicle. Full uniform, socks, hat, and a bat, and it happens to be Chet Lemon's bat in the display. 1-2, the count to Brooks. Reds in front of Pittsburgh, 2-0. They're in the 4th inning at Pittsburgh. Atlanta and the Cubs scoreless in the 1st inning at Chicago. High fly, deep left field. Gladden going back. He's at the warning track, crosses parallel, leaps, and makes the catch. Play of the game right there by Dan Gladden, who stuck with it. And the Angels are gone in the 4th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It's still a scoreless ball game. A reminder that each time a Tiger hits a home run on pass this year, some lucky fan will receive a free case of Faygo Pop. For your chance, send your name, address, phone number, favorite charity, and store where you buy Faygo to Faygo Home Run, WJR, 2100 Fisher Building, Detroit, 48202. Trammell hits the first pitch, shallow left. Polonia coming in. And there's 1 out of the Detroit 4th inning. There's been just 1 hit. It was an infield hit in the top of the 4th.
Jim Abbott is sneaky quick. He has that nice, slow, easy motion, and he's getting inside on some of these guys. Alan Trammell normally, that's his pitch up and in, and turns on it real quickly, but that ball was jammed Alan a little bit. He was late, and Gladden was late. See if Cecil can hang on to the bat this time. I really don't think he's got a good grip with that left hand that has been sprained.
First pitch is swung on and missed.
Well, he swung pretty hard then and hung on to it.
He is very conscious of what happened in the first at-bat. He looked back at the stands and smiled at him as though to say, I got it. Don't worry about it. Here's the 1-strike pitch. He turned it loose a couple of times, didn't he? I would think, though, that if you're really concentrating on that, if it is a problem, it could take your concentration off hitting.
It can, but that pitch is up out of the strike zone where Cecil, that's not his pitch at all. Just swung at a bad pitch there. Good or bad hands, he's not going to hit that one.
Fouls it straight back. It stays 2 strikes. Tony Oliva was the worst that I can remember of not being able to hang onto the bat, throwing it consistently. But when he held on the bat, he made contact a great many times.
Yes, he was. He was one of the better hitters you'll ever want to see.
Skips up there, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Speaking of former Minnesota Twins, Rod Carew is the new hitting coach for the California Angels. He wound up his career as a member of the Angels. Sort of a premature departure from California with the arrival of Wally Joyner. He was not real happy with the way the career ended. But apparently amends have been made, and he is back as the hitting coach. Knocked down by DeSarcina, but he does not hang on to it. Be an error against the young fella. The Tigers have a base runner with 1 out.
DeSarcina was very lax at going after that ball. He had plenty of time to get around in front of it. He just tried to be cute and backhand it. And he didn't pick it. Here we're going to see it. Cecil Fielder doesn't hit this ball very hard. DiSarcina doesn't bother getting in front of it. He just was going to be cute, backhand it, and it didn't work. It's a mental mistake there.
Third Tiger base runner of the night. First error of the ball game. And Mickey Tuttleton will bat. Fielder at first, one out. One strike to Mickey. He flied to left in his first trip. Mickey has been very effective at the plate recently. All 7 homers and 14 runs batted in have come in the last 15 games. He fouls it back.
Often running to a good start. Tettleton and Fryman have been the 2 most consistent hitters on the team. Mickey had a big year for the Tigers last year with 31 home runs and 89 RBI.
Cecil Fielder is the Tiger base runner with 1 out. A rare occurrence in Chicago tonight. Both the Cubs and the White Sox are at home. Milwaukee playing on the south side and Atlanta on the north side. Up and in, 1-2. Atlanta and the Cubs are scoreless in the second. Good look at Jim Abbott, former Michigan star, former Flint Central star. 1-2 delivery is swung on and missed. See, third strikeout of the night for Abbott. 2 are away, and Travis Fryman will bat.
This is an excellent curveball. He threw a couple of pitches past Mickey on the inside part of the plate. Then he comes with that overhand hook. You're going to see it here. Just a nice, tight curveball breaking down out of the strike zone. Excellent pitch with good motion.
Now it's Travis Fryman's turn. He lined Bobby Rose in the second inning. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Fastball is inside. Two 2-0 the count. 2 out, runner at first. Ground ball foul over by the Tiger dugout. Slams off the facing of the dugout. Rolls out to Trzaskowski. Two balls and a strike. Now it's 3-1. Fouled straight back, full count.
It shows you how sneaky quick right there on that pitch Jim Abbott is. That pitch was right in the middle up where Travis Fryman likes it and usually hammers that pitch 3-1, and he was just a little bit late. Abbott sneaks it up on you. He's a little quicker than you think.
Cecil Fielder will be running on a 3-2 pitch with 2 out. And another foul. This will be out of play along the right field line. Tigers looking for their first hit of the night. We're in the bottom of the fourth of a scoreless game. And another foul at the plate. Abbott has been very tough on the Tigers hitters, but he has not been very lucky against the Tigers over his brief big league career. The 3-2 pitch and a fly to center. Junior Felix has called for it and makes the running catch. Tigers gone to the fourth. No runs, no hits, one error and one left. We'll go to the fifth inning. It's still scoreless. Scoreless ball game here at Tiger Stadium. Game one of a brief two-game series matching the Tigers and the Angels. There are 3 games scheduled in the National League all tonight. We'll see what's happening there. They're in the fourth inning at Pittsburgh. Cincinnati with a 2-0 lead over the Pirates at Wrigley Field in the second. John Smoltz going for Atlanta. That is a scoreless ball game. And at the Astrodome, New York and Houston scoreless in the first. Saberhagen going for the Mets, and Darryl Kyle for the Astros. In the American League, Baltimore has a 3-2 lead over Texas. They're playing in the third inning. Guzman pitching for the Rangers, and Milwaukee is pitching for the O's. Minnesota with a 2-0 lead over Boston. They're playing in the second. John Smiley trying for his first victory for the Twins. Kansas City 2-1 lead over Cleveland. They're playing in the fourth inning. That's Gordon and Otto at Comiskey Park. Milwaukee and Chicago are scoreless. They're in the first inning. New York plays a late starter out on Seattle. Leary and Swan are the probables. And Toronto rounds out the schedule at Oakland. That'll be Stottlemyre and Darling. Gullickson and Abbott hooked up in a classic duo last season. 1-0 victory. Jim Abbott prevailed in that one. This is a scoreless game as we get ready for the fifth. Just one hit in the ball game. It was an infield single with 2 out by Junior Felix in the top of the fourth inning. Alvin Davis will lead off the fifth for California. First pitch is a little high for ball one. Low ball 2. Ground ball to the right side. Phillips scoops it up and throws him out. In fact, that ball rolled up to the fingertips in Phillips' glove, but he stuck with it and got Alvin Davis. 1 out in the fifth inning.
Take a look at this. Tony gets a good jump on the ball. The ball took a little high hop on Tony, hit him in the heel, but he stayed right with it, looked the ball into his glove, made the play.
1 out, and Gary Gaetti will bat. He popped out in his first trip. Big day against Cleveland yesterday. 2 for 4, double. Run batted in. He is 8 for 19 on the road. Ground ball left side. Trammell picks it up and guns it across, and there are 2 away. The infielders have been busy tonight. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ground ball outs.
Now, Bill is keeping the ball down, and he does throw that tailing fastball, sinker, and a little slider. That's what he wants the hitters to do, is try and pull him. He'll keep the ball down, keep it away. You'll pull the ball to second, short, and all of his infielders. When Bill's pitching right, he does throw a lot of ground balls.
Now it's Lance Parrish's turn. He flied to center in his first at-bat. Fouled straight back. One strike. Lance had not played since the 29th of April. He got into the game yesterday. He's been bothered by an inflamed right elbow. 6 hits in his last 15 at-bats coming into tonight's game. High for a ball. He and Hubie Brooks are tied for the home run leadership on this club, each with 4. One pitch swung on. One-two pitch. Got him swinging. Second strikeout for Gullickson. And the Angels go quietly in the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We're halfway through. We have no score. Time now to recap the game scoring, brought to you by Cellular One, your best connection for cellular service with the largest coverage area in the Midwest. Wherever you go, you're in business with Cellular One. Well, it won't take long tonight. There really haven't been any threats to score. Only one hit has been allowed. That was an infield single by Junior Felix with 2 out in the 4th inning. Abbott has quieted the Tiger bats. He's walked a couple, and the Tigers got a base runner as a result of an error in the 4th inning. But this game has belonged to the pitchers. Jim Abbott looking for his 2nd win of the season, 1-3 with a brilliant 1.8 earned run average. They have what must be classified as a solid pitching staff with the likes of Finley, who is now back from the disabled list, Mark Langston, and one of the top relief pitchers in Major League Baseball, Brian Harvey. If they can score some runs, if they can play some defense, which they had not done earlier in the season, they could be an interesting team to watch in Southern California. Things are deteriorating at the Joe Louis Arena. It's now 3-0 Blackhawks. They are in the 2nd period. It'll be the lower 3rd of the order for the Tigers. Rob Deere, Mark Carrion, and Milt Kyler. Deere walk was forced at 2nd on Carrion's ground ball in the 2nd inning. Low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Bounced foul over by the Tiger dugout. See, the lads are all bundled up in the dugout as well as the fans in the stands. 48 degrees at game time and the breeze blowing in. One and one to Deere. Fastball inside, 2 balls and a strike. This is wide, 3-1. Line shot left field, base hit for Deere. Polonia is over for the pickup, and the Tigers have their first hit. A leadoff single by Rob Deere in the 5th inning.
Rob Deere gets a 3-1 pitch, and he stays right on it. It's down in the strike zone. Rob's a better low ball hitter than high. You see him keep his head right down on that ball, and he lines it into left field. No doubt about that one.
So Rob Deere is the Tiger runner with nobody out of the 5th inning, and Mark Carrion will bat. Mark hit into a force play in the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 1. Fouled back. Goes right back onto the playing field after hitting the facing over here. Milwaukee and Chicago scoreless. They're in the 2nd inning at Comiskey Park. Milwaukee, one of the surprise teams early, handled the Blue Jays rather effectively this past weekend, winning 3 of 4. Milwaukee a couple of games over 500 now. This little pop-up. Rose is near the bag, makes the catch, and Deere trots back to first base. 1 away, and Milt Keiler will bat. Milt Keiler bats with 1 out and 1 on. Chad Curtis has come into the ball game, replacing John Morris in right field. Morris having some back spasms. Curtis, another of the newcomers among the Angels. There he is. Jumped from A-ball to AAA last year. Played in Venezuela during the winter and did very well and made the ball club this spring. One ball, no strikes. Each team with 1 hit. Neither team has scored. Fastball, bunts at it. Foul, tips it into Perry Schmidt. Count is a ball and 2 strikes. Base runners have been few and far between. The Tigers have advanced the runner as far as second base once. Phillips walked to open the first and stole second, was stranded there. Here's the 1-1 pitch, swung on, ground ball into the hole, and they won't get anybody. Gaetti flagged at the ball but couldn't come up with it, and then it was too late as Keiler picks up an infield single, advancing Deere to second, and the Tigers have an opportunity in the 5th.
Once this ball gets past Gaetti, it's history time. Deere had a good jump at first, and Keiler has such great speed. You see Gaetti couldn't quite get to it, and the shortstop never had a chance. Here we go. We see it again. Gaetti kind of short-armed that ball. He really should have picked it, and he overreached for the ball and got under his glove.
Tony Phillips will bat. Tigers with a man in scoring position for the 2nd time tonight, and Tony takes the pitch low for a ball. Phillips has been a clutch hitter for the Tigers recently. After kind of a slow start, he is getting a stroke back. He has knocked in 8 runs in the last 3 ball games. Deere at second, Keiler at first, swing and a miss, 1-1. Abbott has allowed a couple of hits. He's walked a couple, and he has struck out 3 so far. The 1-1 pitch from Abbott is in there. 1-2. Tigers trying to break through here in their half of the 5th inning. Chopper hit slowly toward third. Gaetti will have to go over to first, gets his man there, and the runners move up. So it'll be Dan Gladden with a chance to knock home 2 as Deere has gone to third and Kyler advances to second. 2 are out as Gladden steps up.
Dan is due. He's been struggling quite a bit. Hit .247 last year for the Twins. Came over as a free agent. Just hasn't been able to get it going. He had 2 or 3 good games and then sputtered.
Pitch low for a ball. The official reason given for John Morris leaving the ball game is that he has a sore rib cage. Cold weather probably didn't help him a whole lot standing out there. 1 ball, no strikes to Gladden. Tigers have 2 in scoring position with 2 out. We're in the bottom of the 5th, no score. And a liner fouled on the right field line. Gladden had a couple of hits in 5 at-bats on Friday night against Oakland. Tiger runners. Rob Deere opened this half inning with a single. He's stationed at third, and Milt Kyler with a 1-out infield single is at second. 1-1 pitch, line deep to left field. This is well hit. This is gone. A 3-run homer for Dan Gladden. The 3rd homer of the season for Dan Gladden. And the Tigers take the lead in the 5th.
Here's one of the few mistakes Abbott has made. Waist-high fastball. Dan Gladden's been late on him, but he wasn't late on that one. He got around it and hit it deep into the upper deck for a 3-run dinger.
Bye-bye baseball, hello Faygo. That home run means that John Elkins of Lansing will receive a free case of Faygo, and his favorite charity, Boys and Girls Club of Southeast Michigan, will receive 5 free cases, all available at Kessel stores. A 392-footer for Dan Gladden has put Detroit in front in the 5th. Alan Trammell takes the pitch low for a ball, 1-1. Tigers breaking through for 3 runs on 3 hits here in the 5th after being blanked with no hits through the first 4. 2 balls and a strike. Gladden now has 8 runs batted in the last 4 ball games. Two-one pitch to Tram, low for a ball. 3-1. Allen has grounded out and fly to left. Inside, ball 4. 3rd walk-off, Jim. And Cecil Fielder will be the batter. And Marcel Latchman comes out of the dugout. Nothing going on in the California bullpen at the moment.
Marcel wants to come out and settle Abbott down a little bit. It's not unusual for a pitcher after giving up a home run to walk the next hitter. Just don't want it to carry on. Those are the first runs scored on Jim Abbott on the road this year.
Pretty amazing, this man, Jim Abbott. He's pitched exceedingly well, but has not had a whole lot of luck. 1.8 earned run average. You ought to be at least even in the win-loss column.
Well, if they don't score any runs for him, he's going to be 1-4 with a pretty good ERA. One thing you can do with the Angels, you get ahead of them. They're not a real powerful hitting ball club. You're seldom going to get beaten by the home run with this club.
Cecil steps up, and Parrish picks it nicely. There's no advance by Alan Trammell. 1 ball, no strikes. Hot shot speared by Gaetti. Whoa. Did that get there in a hurry or what? I'm telling you, he's fanning the flames, Gary Gaetti, as he picked it off for the final out. But the Tigers score 3 on 3 hits and leave 1. 3-0 the score of the Tigers after 5. Our next telecast will be at the Kingdome. Here's a look at the Seattle Mariners. This on-deck feature highlights the Seattle Mariners, led by one of the American League's most exciting and talented personalities. Ken Griffey Jr. does it all for the M's. In 3 big league seasons, he's collected 60 home runs, 241 runs batted in, and carries a .299 batting average. Griffey has not been kind to Tiger pitching. He's hitting .318 lifetime with 39 total hits against the Tigers. In a move to bring more power to the Kingdome and aid Griffey in the slugging department, the M's dealt reliever Billy Swift to the Giants for slugger Kevin Mitchell. Mitchell carried a .275 average with 162 homers and 481 runs batted in entering the 1992 campaign. His power and confidence should catch on and boost the young Mariner lineup. Seattle also made a coaching change, bringing third base coach Bill Plummer in to take over the controls. Plummer spent 8 seasons in the majors and 7 coaching in the minors. Though the Mariners finished with their best season in team history with an 83-79 record, an unsatisfactory 5th place finish was the result. It's the Tigers against Seattle in a 3-game matchup live from the Kingdome.
Bill Gullickson so far has shut California Angels down. Bill's only given up 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 2 in the 5 innings he's pitched. There's really been no threat. The 4th inning is when Junior Felix got an infield hit over in the shortstop hole, and that's just been about it. Bill did walk 1 batter in the 3rd, and he was erased on a double play. So shutting them out, Bill is.
Been a great pitching performance on both sides. Gullickson shooting for his 4th consecutive victory after opening with 2 losses. In the 6th inning, he'll face Bobby Rose, Gary DiSarcina, and Luis Polonia. Bobby Rose drew a walk in the 3rd inning. He opens the 6th with the Tigers in front 3-0. One strike on the outside corner to Rose. Foul straight back. 2 strikes. The veteran Bill Gullickson, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 walk, and a couple of strikeouts. One and 2 to Rose. Robert Richards hails from West Covina, California. 25 years old. Fouls it back. Started last year with Edmonton, came up in May, and then was sent back in late May. Was up briefly in '89 and in '90 as well, but most of the time spent in Edmonton. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Came from the side and got him, and he knew it. Whoa. What a pitch from Gullickson. 3rd strikeout for Bill. And DiSarcina will be the batter.
Pitch ought to be illegal. Coming down and around, and a little old breaking ball, and boy, hooked it right in there. You could see Bobby Rose had not seen that motion and watched the body pull away. Whoa, he thought it was an inside fastball and it just hooked over the plate. Uh-oh. Not too happy.
Gary DiSarcina hits it down the right field line, foul out of play. Let's see if Bill throw that pitch very often, boy. He picked a great spot for it. These 2 teams wrap it up tomorrow afternoon. Gully wants to new baseball, but he hasn't gotten Reed's attention. Now he does. 1:35 is game time tomorrow afternoon. Joe Gray for the Angels. Scott Alderhead will pitch for Detroit. And the Tigers head for Oakland. They'll open a series there on Wednesday night. There's a liner toward the alley, right center. Kyler is over and makes the catch. My Milt got a great jump on it. And there are 2 away in the 6th.
Milt gets a good jump on his ball. It's hit fairly hard, but nothing great into right center. Milt slipped a little bit as he turned. Didn't have any problem getting it, though.
2 up, 2 down, and Luis Polonia will be the batter. Bunts at the ball. No, he didn't, said Durwood Merrill.
I thought he did. Durwood said no, he held it back on there. He's given whoever's hollering at the bench at him that he held back, but I don't know, Durwood. We'll see it in replay. We get a chance to see it here in replay and see whether he did. Well, it's hard to tell. Good decoy.
Fouled away. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Baltimore, winner of 9 of 10 games played at its new ballpark in front of Texas tonight in the 3rd inning, 3-2. Line foul into the seats. Whoa. Somebody was coming out of the concourse there up that alley, and all of a sudden there's the ball coming right at him. That's a surprise. It's kind of cruising along, and here comes a baseball at your nose. 1-2 the count. 2 out, nobody on. Right back off of Gullickson. Grabbed by Tramp. Still time. No, he's safe.
Polonia has that excellent speed. Had Gullickson not hit it, it had been into center field anyway. Trammell made a good play, but couldn't beat the speed of Polonia. When little Lewis can smell a base hit, the Jets turn on. Here we see it. Breaking ball, he hits it right back at Gullickson, who probably should have caught it. It came right off his glove. Tram comes over, makes the good play, but not in time.
Polonia can really scoot.
There's the second angle. You can see, yes, he can. Once that ball got by Gullickson, he turned on the Jets.
Couple of infield singles off this man. That has been the attack so far for California. Now Chad Curtis bats for the first time. Takes it outside for a ball. He got into the ball game replacing John Morris, who suffered some rib spasms, muscles around the ribs, and was forced to leave the game. This guy was, and get this, the 45th round draft choice. You folks passed on him. 2-0 the count. Jumped from A ball to AAA last year. He had .316. Played in Venezuela during the winter. He had .338. Led the league in average, doubles, triples, on base percentage, slugging percentage, and runs batted in. There goes the runner. Pitch is swung on, hit to right. Rob Deere should have no trouble. And the Halos are gone in the 6th. We'll go to the bottom of the inning. Tigers still in front, 3-0.
Experience the world's finest freshwater fishing this season with Captain Steve Jones aboard the Predator or the Predator 2. King salmon and trout on Lake Huron, walleye, smallmouth bass, and trophy-sized muskies on Lake St. Clair. Both spacious boats offer state-of-the-art electronic gear, all bait and tackle, and the most experienced guide, Captain Steve Jones, a full-time licensed guide for nearly 15 years that will ensure you a successful catch of big fish. Visa and MasterCard accepted. Call 463-FISH. That's 463-FISH.
Rock 'em, sock 'em, knock 'em out of the park. The Tigers are tearing up the majors, and we've got them covered on Pass. Sparky Sluggers are on the prowl for the pennant in 70 live games this summer on Pass. Leading off is Tigers Today, 15 minutes before game time. Keep up with all the contenders in the Power Stick Pennant Chase. Plus, check out Talking Baseball with Ed Randall. And don't forget about Swing Shift. We cover all the bases this season on Pass Sports. Just watch us.
Tigers in front by a score of 3-0. It's been a nice turnaround by the Tigers starters. They are 3-0 with a 3.27 earned run average in the last 5 games, and Gullickson hasn't harmed that a bit tonight.
No, he hasn't. He's pitched very well the last 2 times out, 3 times really, and this will be his 4th outing. He's pitched very, very well, as Abbott has too. Abbott just made 1 bad pitch, and Dan Gladden put it in the upper deck, and that's all you have to make in a close game like this, and you can lose the game in a hurry. But Gullickson's just pitched very, very well, kept the ball down, good movement on his pitches, and they really haven't hit him hard. They have 2 infield hits to show for it.
Yeah, he very easily could have a no-hitter here through the first 5 innings, but he has a shutout, and his mates are on the board with 3 with a chance to get some more here in the 6th. It'll be Mickey Tettleton, Travis Fryman, and Rob Deere. Abbott has struck out 3, walked 3, allowed 3 hits, and given up 3 runs. Here's the pitch to Tettleton, strike on the outside corner, 0-2. Mickey flied to left and struck out of the 4th inning. Line shot foul down toward the seats and into the seats. It stays 2 strikes. Tigers leading the American League with 36 home runs. Rangers are their closest pursuers. They have 27 starting today's play. 1-2 the count to Mickey Tettleton. Outside and high, 2-2. Pirates and Reds with a little slugfest going on now in Pittsburgh. 5-5 in the 6th. Mets leading Houston 2-0. They're in the 2nd at the Astrodome. Fastball inside, and it is a full count. Mickey was 7 for 32 last year against the Angels with 4 home runs. There's Travis in the on-deck circle. 3-run homer by Dan Gladden, the difference in this game. 3-2 pitch. High fly right field. Chad Curtis coming in, still coming, and can't get there. So Mickey Tettleton launched a fly ball to shallow right, drops in for a base hit.
And you can see the inexperience of Bobby Rose. Bobby Rose quit on that ball. Thought that the outfielder Chad Curtis, who was playing deep, was going to get to it, and the wind just killed that ball. Curtis never got close to it. He never could make a play on it. Ball popped to right, and it looks as if Curtis is going to get to it, but he just never could get there, and Bobby Rose quit, so the ball drops in for a base hit.
4th hit of the night off Abbott. A bloop hit by Tettleton, an infield single by Kyler. A solid base hit by Deere, and a 3-run homer by Gladden. That too was solid. A 392-footer into the upper deck in left. Fastball hit deep to left field. This is really hammered. It is gone. Four-run homer by Travis Fryman. The Tigers will take a 5-0 lead on Fryman's 4th homer of the year.
Take a look at it. Up with not much on it. Looks like he tried to cut a fastball inside to Travis Fryman, got it up in his wheelhouse, and Travis just turned on it with those quick hands and hit it out of here.
Bye-bye baseball, hello Fago. That home run means that Richard Nelson of Dearborn Heights will receive a free case of Fago. And his favorite charity, Ronald McDonald House, will receive 5 free cases, all available at Kessel stores. Tigers with a pair of home runs here this evening. In front 5-0. A 357-footer for Fryman. Rob Deere is up there. He has 1 of the 5 Tiger hits. He had the first Detroit hit in the 5th inning as a leadoff man. 1-1 pitch. High fly curving. This will go foul down the left field line. Hit it deep into the upper deck. And a scramble for possession is on.
Chuck Prim warming up in the Angels bullpen.
Long-time Milwaukee Chucker. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fastball is low and away.
There's Chuck warming up down in the bullpen. This might be it for Abbott, no matter what happens in this inning. He doesn't have anybody out yet in the 6th.
They appeal to first. Tim McClellan's right hand goes up, and Rob Deere is called out on strikes. Well, not called out, but out swinging. 4th strikeout of the night for Abbott.
Not a good pitch. Rob is fooled on this pitch. Ball's down in the dirt, and you see Rob tries to hold up and didn't give the decoy. He was checking out McClellan, and he knew he was going to get rung up.
Abbott had pitched 51 consecutive innings without allowing a home run until tonight.
Tigers are leading all major leagues, are they not, with home runs? Not even like really quite close to them anymore. They're running away from the pack.
Pop foul. Parrish coming back, and it's on the screen. Yeah, the Tigers lead the majors now with 37. Rangers the closest, 27. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mark Carrion. That's what Mark has done tonight. He's the Detroit designated hitter. Pop up on the infield. Alvin Davis over near the line. There are 2 out. Milt Kyler, the number 9 man on the Tiger order, will be the batter. Kyler had an infield single in the 5th inning and scored in front of Dan Gladden. San Diego leads the National League in team home run totals with 24. It's the only team in the National League with more than 19. Swung on and missed. 1 strike. Tigers lead it 5-0. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Ground ball left side, grabbed by Gaetti, guns him down, but the Tigers score a pair on the 2-run homer by Fryman. There were 2 hits in the inning. We are 2/3 of the way through. It's 5-0 Detroit. Five to nothing is the score. Detroit is in front of California. 5-5-0 for the Tigers. 0-2-1 for the Angels through the first 6. California has left 2. Tigers have stranded 3. Junior Felix, Hubie Brooks, and Alvin Davis will start the 7th inning for California. He had the first hit off Bill Gullickson with 2 out in the 4th inning. He had an infield single. Chopped foul. The only other hit, an infield single by Luis Polonia with 2 out of the 6th inning. You made an interesting point, Jim, when we were talking earlier about the difficulties that Jim Abbott has had winning despite the way he has pitched. He very easily could have a shutout right now.
He could. The play that Kyler hits just got it past Gaetti. Gaetti's an excellent third baseman, so you can't fault him for that. If that play had been made, there'd have been no 3-run homer. Inning would have been over, and then the ball that dropped into right field on the other last inning, and it accounted for another home run. So he's been unlucky, but doesn't matter how you get him. He's behind 5-0.
And conversely, Bill Gullickson is ahead 5-0. He has allowed just 2 infield singles to California. Make plans to come out tomorrow afternoon, 1:35, the final game of this homestand for the Tigers. Scott Aldred shoots for his first win tomorrow afternoon. Joe Gray gets the start for California. Gray is 2-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Fastball high and away, 2-2. Gullickson is fan 3, walk 1. Delivers 2-2. Got him swinging. 4th strikeout for Gullickson. He gets the leadoff man in the California 7th.
Bill changes speeds very, very well. You can see that fastball start. It's up out of the strike zone, just a little teaser, and Felix goes after it, thinks it's in the strike zone, tries to swat it into left field, and the ball tailed right away from him.
Now Hubie Brooks will bat. Changed up, popped foul. This will be out of play. Rogers managed Brooks when they were both in Montreal. There's Chuck Krim up again. We may see him in the bottom of the 7th. Brooks made a bid for a home run in the 4th inning after grounding out in the 2nd. He had a high fly ball to deep left. The wind grabbed it and took it parallel to the wall on the warning track. And Dan Gladden stayed with it and made a leaping catch. So he's 0 for 2. Pop up in foul territory, chased by Fielder. Look out. He has got it, I believe. Yes, he hung on to it. Nice catch by Cecil Fielder. That wall was coming up mighty fast. There are 2 out.
Cecil gets over here. He doesn't have much room, and he gets a hold of it before he hits the wall. You can see it again. That's a tough play, but the ball stayed in where Cecil could get his mitt on it before he had to reach that fence, and he made a nice play. Might have taken a chunk out of the concrete over there. This guy's big.
He's a happy man, Cecil Fielder. And he keeps those around him happy. 2 out, nobody on in the 7th. Alvin Davis, the hitter, with a 1-0 count. Fastball is in there. 1-1. Well, the Rangers have scrambled back and have tied the game at Oriole Park. It is 3-3 in the 4th inning. John Smiley trying to pick up his first victory as a member of the Twins. He's in front 2-0 at Fenway. Ground ball right side. Fielder picks it off. Will win the race for the bag, and it's a 1-2-3 inning in the 7th. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Still 5-0 Detroit.
Chuck Krim will come in here and relieve Jim Abbott in the 7th inning. Chuck was acquired from the Milwaukee Brewer organization. He is 1-1, 18 innings pitched, walked 9, struck out 4. Had a certain amount of success with the Brewers. A couple of his best years, 88 and 89, where he was in 70 and 76 games. Pitched 105, 117 innings, pitched 91 innings last year with an 8-5 record.
He faces Tony Phillips, the leadoff man, and delivers a pitch low for a ball. Phillips, Gladden, and Trammell in the 7th. Krim has been kind of running on empty recently. In the last 6 appearances, he allowed 8 runs. He was hot early, giving up 2 earned runs in the first 5 games.
Angels got him from the Brewers for pitchers Mike Fetters and Glenn Carter.
He's behind Phillips, 2-0. Inside 3 balls, no strikes. Jim Abbott pitched 6 innings tonight. Allowed 5 runs, 5 hits. Struck out 4, walked 3. 3-0 pitch in there for a strike. There's Kevin Ritz in the Tiger bullpen.
I would imagine just getting a little work in. The way Gullickson is pitching, I doubt if he's taken out.
Phillips draws his 2nd walk of the night.
We'll take a look and show you what Dan Gladden did in the 5th inning. Got the Tigers up on top. It's a high fastball that Gladden gets out in front of, and he makes no doubt about it. It's hit deep into the upper deck left field.
It was 1 of 2 Tiger home runs tonight. Gladden, a 3-run homer in the 5th. Fryman, a 2-run homer in the 6th. Dan is 1 for 3 this evening. Phillips at first base, nobody out. And it's fouled back out of play. Chuck Krim working in relief of Jim Abbott. They're playing in the bottom of the 7th. Tigers in front 5-0. Up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Little chin music. 1 strike and no balls. And Dan Gladden goes into the pitch quite often, and he got into that with a real running fastball up and in.
Here's the 1-1 pitch swung on. 1-2 to Gladden.
That up and in chin music will make that little slider there a lot more effective. As you can see, Gladden pulled off that pitch.
Tony Phillips at first, nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Here's the 1-2 delivery, swung on and drilled to left field for a base hit. Phillips makes the turn and holds on as Polonia comes up throwing. And the Tigers have them at first and second with nobody out.
Take a look at this pitch. That's a hanging breaking ball, and Dan Gladden stays right with it. Stayed right on that pitch and hit it perfectly into left field.
Second hit of the night for Dan. A single and a homer and 4 official at-bats, and Alan Trammell will be the hitter. It's the 6th hit for the Tigers this evening. Well, Steve Yzerman has gotten the Red Wings on the board. They're in the 3rd period. The Blackhawks in front by 2 goals. The pitch to Trammell is up and in. 1 ball, no strikes.
This is a situation Sparky likes late in the game with a lead. He'll run runners in this situation. A double steal and have the hitter hitting.
Some pretty good speed on the base paths. Phillips and Gladden, and Tram can go to right with the best of them. Here's the 1-0 pitch, but he pulls it to 3rd. Gaetti steps on the bag, guns it across for the double play, and Gladden moves on to 2nd. So Cecil Fielder will bat with 2 out.
Take a look at this. Allen pulls this pitch right to Gaetti. It's a no-brainer double play. Just steps on 3rd and makes the throw to 1st. And there's 2 outs.
Cecil is 0 for 3 tonight, but in his last at-bat, he hit a rocket to that man, Gary Gaetti. Gary leaped into the air, picked it off. It was about as hard as you can hit a ball. So Cecil is still hitless in this game. 0 for 3. He was safe on an error by DiSarcina in the 4th inning. Pitch is low and away. This is the first time he's faced Chuck Krim, obviously. Tigers with 5 runs, 6 hits, have a man at 2nd base with 2 out. Two and 0 to Fielder. Dan Gladden, the Tigers runner. Breaking pitch caught the outside corner. 2-1.
Excellent pitch. 2 balls and no strikes through the slider right on the outside part of the plate. He does have an empty base at 1st, but one thing Mickey Tettleton has done is supplied some backup for Cecil. You're not out of the woods if you don't pitch for Cecil.
Cecil hammers it to left. Gladden being waved home. He'll score easily. That'll make it 6-0 as Fielder picks up his 22nd RBI of the year. Second hit off Krim. Tigers now in front 6-0.
Well, maybe he should have not thrown him a strike. Pitch to Tettleton. So that's hindsight. That's a nothing pitch right there. It didn't have much on it, and Cecil Fielder put a little hum to it as he ripped it into left field.
He put a little hum into the last 2 swings that he had.
He almost
made
dragged
contact.
Gaetti to death, that other one.
That bounces away, but there's no advance by Cecil. 1 ball, no strikes to Tettleton. He opened the 6th with a base hit and scored in front of Travis Fryman, who hit his 4th homer of the year. White Sox have scored 4 times and are in front of Milwaukee on Chicago's south side, 4-0 in the 4th. 1-0 pitch to Tettleton. Low for a ball, 2-0. Outside, 3-0 to Tettleton. Got it over, 3-1 to Mickey. Tigers were held hitless through the first 4 innings by the starter Jim Abbott. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Low ball 4. That's the second walk off Prim, the 5th Tiger batsman to walk tonight, and Travis Fryman will be the hitter. Tigers scored 3 on 3 hits in the 5th, 2 on 2 hits in the 6th. They have scored 1 on 2 hits here in the 7th. Marcel Latchman to the right of your screen, Buck Rogers to the left. Fryman 1 for 3 at a 357-foot 2-run homer in his last trip. And he takes a strike. The Pirates now pounding the Reds 12-5 in the 7th inning at Pittsburgh. The 1-strike pitch, low for a ball. Pittsburgh, after that fast start, kind of treading water recently, having split their last 10 games, but tonight they are picking on Cincinnati. Reds have been playing pretty good ball. Had moved into a tie for first place in the West with the Giants. 1-1 pitch inside. 2 balls and a strike. Rob Deere is in the on-deck circle. He'll bat if Travis can keep it going. Two on, 2 out. 2-1 pitch. Ground ball up the middle, and it's grabbed by DeCease, and he throws to first, and he got it. DeSarcina just did get Travis Fryman at first base, and the Tigers are gone in the 7th. They settle for 1 on 2 hits and leave 2. We'll go to the 8th. It's 6-0 Detroit.
DeSarcina makes a diving stop on this ball, gets up and makes an excellent throw to first base, and just does get Travis Fryman. I don't know, that was awfully close. We'll see what happens here. Foot's on the bag, ball's not in the mitt. He was safe. He was robbed, but we get to see it in slow motion.
Yeah, Tim McClellan saw it once and called him out, and that's the way it stays. Tigers in front by a score of 6-0. Folks are hanging in there on what has turned into a frigid night at the old ballpark. 6-7-0 for the Tigers, 0-2-1 for California. Both hits were infield hits for California. Junior Felix and Luis Polonia. Gary Gaetti will bat. There have been ground balls all over the place against Bill Gullickson tonight. 2 in the first, 1 in the 2nd inning. 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 1 in the 7th.
Gary wearing glasses now. First I've seen of that. He probably had contacts, but he's got some goggles on there, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like it. I haven't seen him. I knew he wore contacts, but this is the first time we've seen him with glasses.
That's what 0 for 2 will do for you. You panic.
One ball, no strikes. Popped it up. Long run for Cecil. Phelps closes in behind. Cecil falls forward and makes the catch. The big man got over there in a hurry. No problem.
Back to the drawing board with the contacts, maybe. Could be with the wind. The contacts sometimes will dry out on you, and it probably irritated his eyes. Cecil surrounds this one just perfectly. With the wind blowing in from right, it's a lot easier with pop flies.
Tigers hit the road following tomorrow afternoon's game. They'll go to Oakland, to Seattle, to California, and wind it up at Kansas City. We'll have all 3 games from the Kingdome next weekend, and we'll have the final game of the road trip from Kansas City. 1:35 start tomorrow afternoon. 1-0 pitch is fouled back. They have a seesaw struggle going over at Cleveland. The Tribe was in front. Royals came back to move out in front. Indians came back to tie. Kansas City took a 5-4 lead, and now Cleveland has scored twice. And the Indians lead the Royals 6-5 in the 6th inning. Minnesota has increased its lead over Boston to 5-0 in the 8th at Fenway. This is hit down the left field line. Gladden is over as it curves toward the line. Gladden at the corner. It's a fair ball. Gladden takes a look back, and it's going to be a double.
I think Dan thought it was foul. Ball was hit good, and the wind carried it right to left, and now Trammell's pointing out there, but Sherwood Merrill said, I think he called it a fair ball. Gladden can't believe it. Neither can Sparkman. But I don't know how they're going to change Durwood's mind. There's no replay, and he may be going to ask Rick Reed.
Reed is out there waiting in case he wants to ask him.
Well, they could ask us because we'll probably get it on replay. We'll get it right. Durwood shaking his head no. Rick Reed saying no. Sparky's saying yes. Gullickson says give me the ball. Yeah. He's going back to the ball.
So let's play ball.
He knows they're not going to change it. I mean, you stand out there and argue all day. They had to call what they saw. They don't have the advantage of replay, and we are going to see it here, and we'll see what happens. Gladden jumps for this ball, and it surely does look like it hit the foul pole, but I think they're claiming the fan interfered. That could be what their argument is. See, Gladden's got a bead on it. It's blowing down the fence. Jumps for it. The fan didn't get to Gladden's glove, I don't believe. And the ball looked like it must have hit the foul pole to come back on the field.
If it's hitting that high, it would have to hit the foul pole, I would think.
Sure, it has to be a fair ball. Otherwise, it would have. Well, it could have hit the foul pole and kicked into the stands, but once it kicks back on the field, it obviously hit something. And I think what the Tigers' argument is, they thought the fan interfered and kept it on the field. But in what we have been able to see, the fan missed it, Gladden missed it, and it hit the pole. Anyway, it's going to go as a double, regardless what anyone thinks.
It comes with one out, and Bobby Rose is the batter, as Lance Parrish is stationed out at second base with his second double of the year. Rose has walked and taken a called third strike in the 6th inning. He pops it foul. This will probably get out of play. Tettleton back for a look. Tigers in front 6-0. The home run has played the key role in this one. Great pitching matchup through the first 4, but the Tigers broke through in their half of the 5th. 3-run homer by Gladden was followed in the 6th inning by a 2-run homer by Fryman, and the Tigers picked up an add-on run in the 7th. Gullickson has cruised a 3-hit shutout thus far. He struck out 4, walked 1. They appeal to first, and it's a ball. That seesaw affair continues over in Cleveland. Keith Miller has now homered for the Royals with a man on in the 7th. So KC's back in front. That's foul back. In case you were interested, we little check the lowest hit game pitched by Bill Gullickson in his career is a 3-hitter. He's done that 3 times, all 3 times over in the National League.
Well, all 3 have been, he had 2 infield hits, and this one hits the foul pole with a little argument about it. So
line to left field. That's a legitimate base hit to left. Parrish stops at third base. Ball gets away from Fryman, bounces in front of Tettleton, and the Angels have 2 on with 1 out, with Gary DiSarcina apparently being called back.
One thing you don't want to do when you drop down and try to throw that breaking ball when you sidearm a hitter is hang it, and that's what Bill did that time. And Bobby Rose stayed right on it and ripped it into left field. DiSarcina is going to get pinch hit for. We'll get a look at this. Gullickson, you don't see him, but he dropped down. You see that ball hang waist high? That little breaking ball that he struck other people out with. This time he hung it, and when you hang it to a high ball hitter, you're in trouble.
Looks like Lee Stevens will be the pinch batter. See the Tigers getting a little something started in the bullpen as Mark Leiter gets up. It is Lee Stevens. Stevens will bat for D. Sarcina in the top of the 8th inning, with the Tigers in front by a score of 6-0. Runners at first and third. Stevens was 2 for 4 yesterday, 250 on this road trip.
"24 years old. Compensation pick, selected first round, June of '86. Hit a few home runs in the minors. He had 23 in '88 at Midland. Hit 19 in '87. Hit 19 last year at Edmonton before being called up. Had a big year there where he hit 314 and 96 RBIs. Big, strong kid. Angels are high on him.
The pitch from Gullickson is on the corner for a strike. Fouled out of play. It's 2 strikes. Tigers have 6 runs, 7 hits. It's John Wathen, the third base coach, who had been a member of the Royals organization his entire career. This Lance Parrish at third base. He doubled with 1 out. He's at third now. And Bobby Rose is the runner at first. He singled. 1 out. They're at first and third. 8th inning, 2 strikes to count on the pinch hitter, Lee Stevens. And a liner left for a base hit. That will break the bid for the shutout as Stevens comes through with a run-scoring single. Parrish comes home and Rose stops at second. Just the 5th hit of the night off Bill Gullickson.
Good job of hitting by the young man. The ball's outside, tailing away from him, down and away on the black, not really in the strike zone, and he just stays right with it, punches it into left field.
So we go to the top of the order for Luis Polonia, who has 1 for 3 tonight. We're going to get a pinch runner, I think, for Stevens.
Probably whoever's going to play shortstop, maybe.
Is that Gonzalez?
Rene Gonzalez?
Yep, it is. So Rene Gonzalez becomes the pinch runner. Lee Stevens does his job with a pinch hit run scoring single. The Angels are on the board with 2 on, 1 out. Polonia attempts to bunt his way on, but fouls it back. He had a single up the middle, an infield single in the 6th that he just did beat with his blazing speed. Gullickson got a piece of it. Trammell went behind the bag, gunned it over to first base, but Polonia beat the throw. The 1-strike pitch. Fly ball left field. Dan Gladden going back. And there are 2 out. Chad Curtis will bat. Curtis came into the ball game after John Morris suffered some ribs pain. And Chad is 0 for 1. He batted in the 6th inning, fly to right. White Sox in front of Milwaukee 5-0. They're in the 5th at Comiskey Park. Chicago a game and a half back of Oakland in the West, a half game back of second place Texas. Rangers playing in Baltimore this evening. 2 out, 2 on. Ground ball left side. Fryman will win the race to the bag, and that'll be it for California in the 8th. Angels score a run on 3 hits and leave a pair. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 6-1 Detroit. Rene Gonzalez, who pinch hit, stays in the ball game and plays shortstop for California as we start the Tigers half of the 8th. With the lower third of the order, Rob Deere, Mark Carrion, and Milt Kyler. 9,466 on hand to watch tonight's game. The Tigers broke through in the 5th inning with a 3-run homer by Gladden, Fryman a 2-run homer in the 6th, and an add-on run in the 7th. Angels scored their run on the top of the 8th. Rob Deere has a single and 2 official at-bats. He's walked tonight and scored a run. First pitch from Chuck Krim, low and away. Jim Abbott, the starter and pitcher of record for California, allowed 5 runs, 5 hits, struck out 4, walked 3. Krim came on in the 7th inning, started the inning, and gave up a run, 2 hits, and walked a couple. Here's the 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls, no strikes. A couple of Tigers getting some throwing time in the bullpen. Mike Munoz and Les Lancaster. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and a high pop foul will be out of play. Well, we invite you to join us for our next telecast. It'll come from the great Northwest. Tigers will be playing 3 at the Seattle Kingdome. We'll have all 3 for you. Friday night, 10:15 for Tigers today. Ball game 10:30. 9:45 on Saturday night for Tigers today. Ball game at 10. And Sunday, 4:15 Tigers today. Ball game at 4:30. 2-1 pitch ripped to left field. That'll be chased by Polonia, and Deere will make the turn and hang on. Deere has gotten some pretty good swings up there tonight. 3rd hit off Krim. 2nd hit for Rob Deere this evening.
Krim gets this ball all over the middle of the plate. It looked like a little breaking ball that just spun its way up there, and Rob Deere's eyes lit up as he blasted it into the left field for a solid base hit.
Mark Carrion will bat. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Popped out twice, hit into a force play. Foul straight back. Deere had one of those crazy statistics building. He had 15 hits coming into tonight's game, 13 of them for extra bases. 7 home runs, 5 doubles, and a triple. Tonight he has settled for 2 singles.
He's in a slump.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Both hits he hit have been rockets. He really leaned on both pitches.
There have been some pretty good smashes around here tonight. The 2 balls that Cecil hit. One was turned into an out by a leaping Gary Gaetti, and then, of course, the 2 home runs. Tigers have just 8 hits, but when they made contact, it was square.
Mr. Deere does not get cheated. He lets it fly.
Here's the 2-strike pitch high.
Sometimes in the cold weather and those slick baseballs, it's awfully hard to make the ball break. Krim doesn't have real big break on his pitches, and a lot of his pitches are just spinning up there. You saw the last one, it just stayed very high.
1-2 pitch, bounce foul. It's a friend of mine, Wes Rinker, who runs the Florida baseball schools in Sanford, Florida, that he teaches young kids how to throw, and his gimmick is hold a round ball square. In other words, hold the ball across the seams, and it sort of sticks in your mind and is helpful.
Whatever works.
Well, weren't you taught to throw the ball across the seams when you were in there?
No, yeah, if I wanted it to go straight.
That's what I'm talking about.
The skinny part for a pitcher, the fat part for an outfielder, then it'll go straight. It won't slice or sink.
Those curves coming in from right field are not real good for
no, they're not.
accuracy.
And if you hold it across the fat part of the seams, it will go straight. course, a pitcher, they'll throw a cross-seam fastball, and then they'll also throw it with the seams. And most breaking balls are thrown with the fingers along a seam.
1-2 the count, and he got him swinging. First strikeout for Chuck Krim.
This ball just gets inside on Mark. It's probably not a strike. You see, he was overmatched. The ball was by him when he swung.
Milt Kyler had an infield single and scored a run in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. First final is in for the evening. The Pirates 12 and Cincinnati 5. Hit foul down across and over the Tiger bullpen and into the seats. Milt had a couple of hits yesterday, knocked home a run. 1 for 3 this evening. The other 2 have been ground balls to third base. Atlanta with a 4-0 lead over the Cubs in the 6th inning. Boy, Chicago is really having problems scoring runs.
Are they ever? Atlanta shut them out a number of times.
Polonia misplays it.
He was playing Milt right. He had him played in. And I don't know how that's going to be scored. Probably get a base hit. Milt can use it, hitting 179.
Scored as a hit.
Yeah, that's fair. As we told you, it's always an adventure with Lewis out there. He just short arms this ball. He had it, but he just came up a little short, and then he tried to make a diving catch of it, and he missed it.
There are 2 on with 1 out, and Tony Phillips will be the batter. It's the 4th hit off Chuck Krim. The Tigers total of 9 this evening. One strike to Tony Phillips. He's looking for his first hit. He's been on twice, a couple of walks, and has a steal. There are the Tiger base runners. Deere is at second, Kyler at first. The 1-strike pitch. High for a ball, 1-1. Minnesota leads Boston 5-0. They're in the 8th inning at Fenway.
That's Roger the Dodger Clemens getting stomped on, 5-zip.
John Smiley trying to pick up a win for the Twins. Controversial trade. He's really struggling early, but his mates gave him a lead here this evening. One ball, 2 strikes. Smiley was 0-2 with a 6.84 earned run average. Not exactly a confidence builder in a new ball club. 1-2 pitch. High for a ball, 2-2. Buck Rogers leaning on the post, working on the seeds. His team trails by 5 in the bottom of the 8th. Two-two pitch to Tony, swung on, hit to the right side, knocked down by Davis, and everybody will be safe. Deere's going to try and score. Here comes a throw, and he's a dead duck. Tigers with a gamble, and it failed as Deere was cut down at the plate trying to score the Tigers' 7th run.
Ball took a nice big hop for Alvin Davis, and he misplayed the ball. Kicked it over to the second baseman, who had no play there. You see Alvin Davis, it was a nice big hop for him. Kind of took a quick hop, and you can see Bobby Rose stumbled around on it, and Deere thought he could make it at home, but Bobby stayed after that ball, made a good throw.
Three, 4-2 on the putout. They're going to score a base hit for Phillips.
It's a generous base hit.
It's fouled back and out of play. Yeah, it looked like Davis should have fielded the ball. There's another strike thrown by Rose, and Lance applies the tag. There are 2 out. Tigers at first and second. Dan Gladden has 2 hits in his last 2 at-bats. In the 5th inning, he had a 3-run homer, 392-footer. He singled and scored a run in the 7th. He's 2 for 4 tonight. The 1-strike pitch. Misses wide. 1-1. Tigers with 10 hits this evening. 5 against each man. Abbott the starter. Prim the reliever. Low for a ball, 2-1. Top of the 9th inning will feature Felix, Brooks, and Davis for California. They are the scheduled batters. Tigers in front, 6-1. Foul straight back, 2-2. Things kind of relaxed in the Tiger dugout tonight. It's been kind of a fun evening for them. An outstanding pitching job by Milt Kyler. By Bill.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that's why it's so much fun.
They really had a ball if Milt Kyler was chucking.
Bill Gullickson was posing as Kyler on the mound tonight. Gaetti has had 2 rockets hit at him. He's picked them both up. He's grinning at Gladden as he leaves. And the Tigers take a 6-1 lead to the 9th. Time now for our stat of the night, brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light. It's not just a beer, it's Stroh's. Well, as the season progresses, Lou Whitaker climbs even higher in the all-time lists among the Detroit Tigers stars. You can see the all-time hit leaders. Lou making a move up on the ladder. Of course, Ty Cobb is the front runner. Al Kaline with 7 over the 3,000 mark. Charlie Gehringer, Harry Heilman, Sam Crawford, Cram a few in front of Lou, and Bobby Beach at 1860. Lou also moving up in the home run category. Kaline finished 1 shy of the magic 400 figure. Norm Cash at 373. Hank Greenberg at 306. Willie had 262. Rudy York, Lance Parrish, Bill Freehan, and Lou is 7 back of Mr. Freehan. Some pretty good names there. Some of your former teammates.
Yeah, I was the only one missing.
Well,
for good reason. We didn't have enough. Lou should pass a couple of them there. Get into the 6th in the home runs.
Bill Gullickson has been magnificent on the mound this evening. He has limited California to 1 run on 5 hits. He has struck out 4, walked 1.
I'm going to put Bergman in the game for Cecil Fielder.
That was sort of a late thought, apparently. Maybe Bergie was warming up his arm. Fielder was out there. And change is made. Bergie's in. As we get ready to start the 9th inning, Junior Felix, QB Brown, and Alvin Davis. QB Brooks and Alvin Davis scheduled to go to the plate. Final from Joe Louis Arena. The Blackhawks prevail 3-1, and Chicago leads that NHL series 2-0. Maybe the Wings just want to keep things interesting.
It was very interesting with the North Stars, but I think the Blackhawks a little bit better club.
Probably.
They better not get down 3 games to that team.
Junior Felix had a base hit in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Bill Gullickson has 1 complete game to his credit this season. High fly, deep right center field. This is pretty well hit, and it is gone. A home run for Junior Felix, his 4th of the year.
Generally, when a team is down 6-1, the hitter's taking on the first pitch. However, Junior Felix had the go-ahead sign. Gullickson threw it down the middle just like he should, and Felix leaned all over it for a home run. We call those cripple home runs, but they all count.
Especially at contract time.
Oh, yes, here it is. See, Bill's just going to throw a strike. Generally, as I said, the hitter's taking with a 5-run deficit, but not this time.
So it is now 6-2, and Hubie Brooks will bat. He's 0 for 3. Brooks has grounded out, flied out, and popped out. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Angels had lost their first 4 games this year. There's a fly to center. Milt Kyler back a few strides over to his right. 1 out of the night. Angels had been very careless and had committed 11 errors over the first 4 games, which turned quickly into losses. They had gone 13-7 since that 4-game losing streak. But tonight they're on the brink of loss number 12 this season. Ellis Burks has homered for Boston, breaking the Twins shutout bid in the 9th inning, his first of the year. Alvin Davis 0 for 3. Count is 1-0. 1 out, nobody on. Detroit in front 6-2. In for a strike, it's 1-1. 100 pitches thrown by Gullickson. Terrific job done by Gully this evening. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 7 hits. Davis first of the night. Sparky's coming out, and that looks like it might be all. Mark Leiter has been throwing and has gotten the call. Good job done by Bill Gullickson. He shut him down, facing the minimum number through the first 3rd, and will get a well-deserved ovation as he leaves the field here at Tiger Stadium this evening. Gullickson with a shot at his 4th consecutive victory, leaving with a 6-2 lead and a runner at first base and 1 out. So Mark Leiter will come on and see if he can get the final 2 outs here in the top of the 9th and preserve what would be the 3rd straight win at home for Detroit. We'll be back and check out Leiter's statistics in just a moment. You're watching Pass Sports.
Mark Leiter coming on in relief of Gullickson, who pitched a super game tonight. Gully 8 in the 3rd innings, gave up 2 runs so far on 7 hits, walked 1, struck out 4. Mark Leiter will come in here. Mark throws a hard slider, sinking fastball, and once in a while a little old curveball. Has very, very good stuff. There's his record, 2-1, 3.6 earned run average. This is his 10th game. Pitched 15 innings, walked 6, struck out 14. He'll face Gary Gaetti.
He pitched on Saturday, relieving Frank Tanana in the 8th with none out and a 5-3 lead. He threw 8 pitches. All were strikes and set the A's down in order. Tigers won at 5-3. In the 9th inning, he faces Gary Gaetti, who was 0 for 3 against the starter. He's up there with 1 out, 1 in, and a runner at first base. Tigers in front 6-2. And the pitch is in for a strike. Tigers have 6 runs, 10 hits. Angels 2 runs, 7 hits. Foul ball out of play, out of the stadium. Two strikes to Gaetti. ball will be in play. Bergman is over. And there are 2 out. Two gone in the top of the 9th inning. And Lance Parrish will bat. Lance doubled and scored a run in the 8th inning. He's 1 for 3 this evening. Swing and a miss on the Leiter delivery.
That's when Mark is most effective, when he just rears back and fires that good stuff, headed right for the middle. His ball moves so much. All he has to do is throw it at the center of the plate, and it'll sink or slide or sail.
Ground ball to Fryman. Short hops it. Should be the ball game, and it is. The Tigers win their 3rd straight. Taking game 1 of this brief 2-game series with California. A brilliant performance by Bill Gullickson and a perfect performance by Mark Leiter, who came on to get the final 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. For Detroit, a 6-2 victory over the Angels. We'll be back in just a moment on Pass.